You have a whole lot of media activity saying actually that India is preparing for a war with China. Nothing could be further from truth than this. To my mind, Bangladesh is heading for dark days. And as a neighbor, India is very much concerned about Bangladesh. The weapon is political Islam, and the target is Bangladesh. And of course, as an adjunct, India. Hamas, the leadership may have gone, but the activists remain over there. The Japanese have virtually increased their defense budget by $10 billion. They were looking at 2% of the GDP because they're facing a threat from China. Over Taiwan, Europe is facing a migrant crisis, continuous. There is continuous violence over there. Everybody will have to be nimble-footed to handle whichever crisis unfolds the next day.
What would you say the global outlook is for 2026? Hello and a very warm welcome to all. You're watching Hindustan Times and my name is Aisha Varma. Welcome to a special edition of Point Blank, where we take a look at all of the major happenings of 2025. So, we have HT's executive editor, Mr. Shishir Gupta, joining us to tell us all about what's taken place this year. Sir, namaskar. Sir, what exactly is happening with the Indo-US trade deal?
Okay, as far as the Indo-US trade deal is concerned, the deputy US TR was in town on December 10th, 12th. He had a meeting with his Indian interlocutors. He had a meeting with the Commerce Ministry officials, everybody. He went back to US to give what is the Indian understanding of the Indo-US nuclear deal, what are their issues as far as what the American issues are, right? My understanding is that now US has got back to us and has made it very clear that this is where they want the trade deal to go. This is what they can do maximum, and they have given a position on each and every issue. That is with the Commerce Ministry, that is with the government, and it is for the government to decide as to where they move on the deal. Right? Now, my understanding is that there could be some issues over how much tariff ultimately is going to be imposed on India. Right? Right now, there's a 50% tariff. There is a tariff which includes 25% of Russian oil. Now, that again is a hurdle because the Ukraine deal is still way off. So, what you're seeing is that the US have come back to us with their positions as to what are their bars and what are their bottom lines. Now, it is for the Indian government to take a call on that, and then the two can decide. What I can say positively is that both the countries are continuously engaged with it. It's not that anybody has taken a final decision. The thing is that it could happen now, it could happen in January. That is where it is. So it's still fluid. There is positive momentum. We know what both sides want, and so now it's a final decision for both the governments to take a call. That's where it stands.
So beyond this, the Americans are saying that India is preparing for war with China. What exactly is the reality here?
The US media has reported that India has built up infrastructure and they are talking about preparing for a war with China. Now, simultaneously, there is a US document also which says that China is getting closer to India, and so that their distance from US increases. Right? These are the two things that are coming in, and then you have a whole lot of media activity saying actually that India is preparing for a war with China. Nothing could be further from truth than this. Okay, these are orchestrated campaigns designed to make India, China at loggerheads, India and US at loggerheads, and try and create an utter confusion. Now, let me tell you very clearly what it is. There is a 3,488 kilometer LAC, that is line of actual control, between India and China, right? Of which only the middle sector we know we know that the positions of the two sides, right? Which was done way back in the first decade itself. Now, China has built infrastructure on its side, which is legitimate, and they have done it for their own security. India has built roads, built tunnels, built logistics, built advanced landing grounds for its own security, for securing the 3,488 kilometer LAC. India has built all over the place. Now, India has built because, or let me say, the Modi government has built its infrastructure because the previous governments did not make any effort to build infrastructure on this, thinking that the Chinese may come over. Now, so what the Modi government has done is legitimate. They are not looking for any war. Neither is China looking for any war. The two sides are talking to each other. They want peace and tranquility on the border. As long as there is peace and tranquility on the border, the two sides can grow the relationship. That's where it is. I mean, it's not that India and China right now are actually, at loggerheads. No, they are not. We have actually decided, we have resumed, air traffic. We have resumed business visas. We resumed everything. This is the way India looks at it. India practices strategic autonomy. India will engage China. India will engage US. It is not, if I engage US, I will be at loggerheads with China. If I am with China, I'm at loggerheads with US. No, this is not the way it works with India, right? So factually, there is no question of any war with China as long as there is peace and tranquility on the border, right? And the two sides keep talking to each other. Now, there is an issue where India has to designate a Lieutenant General level officer. So does China has to designate, so that the two can talk to each other whenever there is some friction on the border. That's it. There is nothing more than that. Yes, we have built tunnels in Arunachal Pradesh. Yes, we have built roads in Arunachal Pradesh. Yes, we have built roads and tunnels in this in middle sector, in the western sector, all. But that is for our own protection, for our own security, just like China has done so. We are doing within our territory. We are not doing in Chinese territory. Let me be very clear. So all these articles and all this, these smart analysis and SWOT analysis, they are done for a particular reason, to make sure that India, China remain always at a friction, and US gets to play a game, China gets to play a game, or whosoever wants to play a game. Fact is, India will do what is in its own interest.
Okay. Now, speaking about another one of India's neighbors, tension really peaked between India and Pakistan this year. We saw a terrorist attack which took place in Pahalgam. We also saw India's response in the form of Operation Sindoor. Tell us more about the significance of what exactly occurred.
See, Operation Sindoor was a pinpointed counter-terror attack against Pakistan after the Pahalgam terror attack that took place on April 22nd, 2025. It was a counter-terror operation where India took down 9 terror camps, including the Jaish-e-Mohammed headquarters in Bahawalpur and the Lashkar-e-Toiba headquarters in Muridke. This is something which was never done in the history of independent India, right? This is a very significant development because everybody talked about it, but nobody had the guts to do it. Subsequently, the Pakistanis retaliated and tried to make it into a bigger skirmish, right? To which the Indian retaliation came on the night or early morning of May 10th, in which India not only took down 9 air bases, multiple radar sites, it took down multiple aircrafts of Pakistan, and ensured that Pakistan had to beg for peace with the help of US with India. India announced ceasefire at 5 p.m. on May 10th, 2025, after which India did not retaliate. But that was not the case with Pakistan, which continued to do so, right? So India did everything with a clear plan, clear agenda to retaliate against the Pahalgam massacre, against Hindu tourists done by Pakistani terrorists. These Pakistani terrorists were subsequently taken out within Kashmir also. So it was not a war against Pakistan. It was a counter-terror operation that Indian Army, Indian Air Force, Indian Navy took against Pakistani terrorists and their terror camps. Pakistan is trying to make it as an issue of, as if it won a war, right? This is basically what they're doing, is they're lying through their teeth, and they're trying to justify their own existence to their domestic audience as well as the Western neighbors, right? So the fact remains is that whatever India has done to ensure that no more terror attacks takes place against India, and that is why Operation Sindoor continues, because India will not tolerate any terror attack subsequently from Pakistan or whichever third country power it is. So this is where it lies. Pakistan continues to lie. India knows what it has done. Pakistani air bases are still getting repaired, right? Let me tell you very clearly two points. During Operation Sindoor, India has shown the ability that India has the capability to take down anything that flies in Pakistan or anything in Pakistan all across the breadth of 1600 kilometers. It has also shown that it has and it can take armed operations against Pakistan without succumbing to the blackmail of nuclear threat. It has sent a clear-cut message that it will not tolerate any terror attack coming from Pakistan. And that is what India has done. It has built up a huge deterrence against Pakistan. That was the prime objective of Operation Sindoor, apart from avenging the Pahalgam attack.
So now, speaking about current happenings, tell us more about what the latest situation is in Bangladesh and what exactly is taking place on the ground as far as government action is concerned, of course led by Muhammad Yunus, but also tell us about what's behind it.
See, to my mind, Bangladesh is heading for dark days.
Okay.
And as a neighbor, India is very much concerned about Bangladesh. Now, there are question marks whether the election is going to take place on February 12th, 2026. And these are not simple question marks, they are huge question marks, because the law and order situation in Bangladesh is very bad. The Yunus government cannot control it. The Bangladesh army is not really prepared that much to handle it. And you must remember, the Bangladesh police got a huge beating last year. So they are not too very sure as to who's going to come and protect them. On top of that, you have the Jamaati 8 party alliance that has come up. And then you have the BNP leader, Tariq Rahman, returning back, and after 17 years in UK. So what you see is that Jamaat, which had a maximum of 18 seats in the 300-seat parliament of Bangladesh, is expected to get nearly 60 plus seats in the coming elections if they are held. Tariq Rahman and the BNP are supposed to be somewhere around 150, 160 seats. That's what the assessment is, right? The Awami League under Sheikh Hasina, who's right now seeking political asylum in India, is not participating in the elections because Sheikh Hasina thinks that the elections are a fraud. Unfortunately, the fact is that if the Jamaatis get 50 plus more seats, they will not let the Tariq Rahman government function or the BNP government function, and they will take down the entire Awami League vote base by killing, coercion, extortion, arson, whatever be the tools. Right? So what is going to happen is you will see a Islamist Bangladesh emerging out of the entire thing, because this is the way it goes. Now, the problem here is that if Sheikh Hasina wants her vote to remain, and she has a significant, but 18 to 20% vote still there, and the workers are still there, only the leaders are outside. If she wants that, then she should ask her workers and everybody to come out and protest on the streets, to come out and vote for a multicultural Bangladesh, right? Not an Islamist Bangladesh, which is pro-Pak, that is Jamati, or Western powers who are represented now, subsequently by Tariq Rahman. So we are heading for dark days over there. And India has to take care of what is going to come out from Bangladesh if the elections take place. Because what you are really seeing is Jamaat on the rise. BNP may be in power, but the Islamists will not allow a moderate rule to take place over there. So the weapon is political Islam, and the target is Bangladesh. And of course, as an adjunct, India.
What would you say the global outlook is for 2026?
Well, the global outlook for 2026, the turmoil is going to continue. There is no question about it, because, you see, there is an election that is going to take place in Myanmar. Now, the Myanmar army is more or less in control of Myanmar. It is seeped into the system. So obviously, everything that the Myanmar army says will rule. There is an election in Bangladesh. If it takes place, doesn't take place, there's going to be turbulence in the Indian subcontinent. Then there is election in Nepal in March. Now, again, there are the Western power, there are the Chinese, there everybody is ruling over there, right? So there is a problem over there also. Pakistan will continue to remain unstable because the ruler over there, the de facto ruler, is actually Asim Munir. The rest is everything a sideshow. But it will have problems with Afghanistan. It will have problems with other places, but it will try and seek some sort of comfort from US, because it has now a new alliance with US under President Donald Trump. So there is going to be, it will deal with China, it will deal with Pak, it will deal with US, as long as the target is India, right? Gaza will continue the way it is. I mean, this dream of having a Gaza, these 7-star deluxe resorts, that's far away from there. It will continue because Hamas, the leadership may have gone, but the activists remain over there. And for that, there have been continuous attacks. Even day before yesterday, there was an attack in Jerusalem, terror attack in Jerusalem. So this will continue. So this friction will remain over there, right? Iran will wait for its turn to come out and attack Israel again. Ukraine war, there is this talk that Ukraine war may sort out, the American-led peace process may work out, but till such time, the Ukrainians or President Zelensky will have to sort of, eat crow by accepting the Russian, aggression on Donbass and legitimizing it. The war is not getting over. And that is most difficult because that is an admission of defeat. So that is there. Thailand-Cambodia war, there is a ceasefire, but there will be friction remaining over there. And then again, you have there has been again a lot of Chinese activity around Taiwan. The Japanese have virtually increased their defense budget by $10 billion. They were looking at 2% of the GDP because they're facing a threat from China over Taiwan and bilateral too, with US saying that, listen, you back off because we want to have a relationship with China. Russia engaged with Ukraine, there is a problem. Russia engaged with US, there is a problem. Europe is facing a migrant crisis, continuous. There is continuous violence over there. Europe, Scandinavia, all these places, Brussels, Belgium, France, all this area is facing a migrant issue. So that has to sort out, but that will show its manifestation in the coming elections in those countries, because there is a lot of conservatism that is building up over there. Right? US, I mean, you see, there is a limit to which you can use trade as a weapon. Okay. And I think that limit has been now reached. So, by simply saying that I will do this trade, this tariff, that tariff, maybe it won't work. And US is now looking at a virtually some sort of a, it's virtually on war with Venezuela. Oh, there is an issue of drugs in US which is a legitimate issue. There is an issue of fentanyl. There's a legitimate issue in that. So again, you see a lot of turmoil over there, right? As far as India is concerned, the only good thing that has happened is that you have now a semblance of a good relationship with Canada. And there is a possibility that you will see Mike Carney coming to India somewhere around February, March.
Okay.
Indo-US relationship remains very good. There is no question about it. The two sides are talking on every issue, right? The matter is on the trade deal. If the two sides decide they want to close the issue, I think the issue can very well be closed, because both know each other's position on the entire thing. This is where it is. And as far as trade goes, India has diversified trade. India has signed FTAs with 7 countries, right? The latest one being New Zealand, right? So we have diversified that. We are looking into Africa. We are looking into Latin America. So this is where it is. Now, if you look at Southeast Asia, if you look at Australia, Australia recently had a terror attack, right? So Australia there's going to be turmoil because people are unhappy with how, again, what has happened over there, the migrant crisis, the so-called left liberal thing that has been over there. So you're looking at a pretty unstable world, so to speak. And this will continue, because what is happening is that events that have happened in the Middle East over the past 2 decades, for which primarily, both the Islamists and the US were responsible and the Europeans were responsible, you are still seeing manifestations of that. So there is going to be turmoil, and this will continue. The good part is India is stable, India is growing. The last quarter growth was 8.2%. So as far as India is concerned, India is fine. And then we are now starting to develop our own military industrial complex. So for India, the future looks pretty much all right. But globally, there will be instability all over the place. And everybody will have to be nimble-footed to handle whichever crisis unfolds the next day.
Sir, as always, thank you so much for joining us and helping us build perspective on crucial global events that take place. Do stay tuned to Hindustan Times for more. Have a happy new year and tune in to next year's episode of Point Blank.